Knicks fans have been on my ass because I was talking a little shit. But I got time today. I got time to, it's the hate flow. I got time today, Knicks fans. I said what I said. The Knicks didn't play anybody, and that's why they fucking won. Because they suck. That's why they suck. They didn't play anybody, and that's the only reason they won. It was a fucking anomaly, and it won't happen again. Fuck y'all. We about to react to some hate comments. Let's go. Alright. So, I did a stream with my friend Aaliyah, and in that stream, I cut out a video about us talking about the Knicks, how the Knicks shouldn't have won the NBA championship. And everything I said, I fucking meant it. But Knicks fans saw clips, saw this video, and they were not happy. So I am about to react and respond to all of their comments, or at least the majority of them. We're going to start on YouTube because TikTok has over 300 comments of Knicks fans talking they shit to me. So we go start with YouTube first. So first comment on the YouTube video, you are not too smart. First of all, what's his name? Sylvan Victor 4586. That's the wrong 2. You used the wrong 2. The 2 you meant to use has 2 O's. But that's fine. No, that's fine. That's fine, okay? You know, I've made a lot of mistakes in my life that probably were pretty dumb. Like, I had a child at 19. Not the smartest thing to do. I didn't go to college, so you can consider that not smart, but not everybody that goes to college is smart, and not everybody that doesn't go to college isn't smart, you know? So that's a couple things, but I consider myself a generally intelligent individual just day to day. I just had an opinion, so fuck off and learn your 2s. There's different 2s. There's the number 2. There's the 2 that you used, and then there's the 2 that you should have used. And you are not too smart. But go off, buddy. This joke, but fuck it, I'm putting it here. Hey, this isn't Twitter. It's not Twitter, but we go turn it into Twitter. Let's see. Next comment. Knicks packed the Spurs up in 5 and destroyed every other team. Make sure you call them champs every single time your mouth fixes to make any sound that even sounds like the Knicks. Stick with the YouTube grind, not bad for a small channel. This nigga just... Did this nigga just press me and congratulate me at the same time? What? Don't try to uplift me. Don't try to uplift me, goddammit. This nigga just pressed me and uplifted me at the same time, and I don't know how to feel about it. Thank you, fuck off. Thank you, fuck off. Now that, ladies and gentlemen, is what we call a backhanded compliment. Yeah, definitely. Because he definitely talked his shit here. It started off, so the Knicks packed the Spurs up in 5 and destroyed every other team. So yes, those things happen, but also in everything, context matters. Yes, the Knicks did destroy every team. They won a lot of games. I think they only lost, like 2 or 3 games, something like that. But context matters. They played the Atlanta Hawks. The Atlanta Hawks' best player in that series was CJ McCollum. And they weren't even supposed to make the playoffs. They only made the playoffs because they traded Trae Young, and for some reason that rallied the team and they went on a run. But that doesn't mean they were a good team. They're decent, but based on how they started, they weren't supposed to make the playoffs, but they did. They overachieved and they did. Now, do I think they'll make the playoffs this year? Maybe. I don't doubt that, because they're a solid young team with a couple vets here and there. But they were a team that just had uprooted their best player. They weren't that good prior to him being there. And they had to turn it up just to make the playoffs. So they should have beat them. And that was the team that beat them twice. So yeah, they lost 3 games. They lost twice to Atlanta and once to the Spurs. That was the team, probably the worst team they played was the team that beat them twice. in very close games. They blew them out the last game, I believe, but the rest of the series was pretty close. Then they played Philadelphia, which Maxey and Edgecombe are really good players, but they're both also very young. And again, like I said before, Joel Embiid is a fucking corpse. He was internally bleeding. His knees were rubbing together because he doesn't have any cartilage anymore. His jaw was broke. A vessel in his eye was busted and bleeding. Everything that you could think of that could go wrong with a player was wrong with Joel Embiid, and he still was out there playing. The only reason they beat Boston is because he realized after going down, 3-1, that they didn't have a competent center or a good enough center that could stop, or a center at all for that matter. So he started to dominate like only Joel Embiid could. Half dead, still dropping 40. But when you add context, he dropped 40 on a bunch of forwards and guards, which he should, even if he's injured, because he's a former MVP and a future Hall of Famer. That's the only reason Philadelphia beat the Celtics. They were down 3-1. Again, context matters. And then what else? And then you said they destroyed the Spurs in 5. Destroyed is a very strong word. They were down in each game going into the fourth quarter. Now, did the Spurs choke away the series? Definitely. And I'm still baffled on how that actually happened. They were up every game going into the fourth quarter, and they just blew the game away. Shout out to Jalen Brunson for being so clutch and to be able to do that. To do that for 4 games, for 4 out of 5 games, and they almost did it in the I forgot what game the Spurs won, in either game 3 or 4. He almost did it in that game as well. That's amazing. And that's why y'all won, because Jalen Brunson and the supporting cast are really good and are amazing. But if the Spurs just weren't fucking idiots or weren't young or whatever the case you want to, I don't really like using the youth thing because they beat the defending champs. I think that went out the door when they beat OKC, but whatever. If you want to say they're young, if you want to say they're dumb, you can, because that's exactly what happened. They choked 4 times. But if they would have just kept their bearings and not shot step back threes multiple times like the game was tied, we will be having a much different conversation. But again, that's youth. That's being too confident. That's bad coaching in the moment. Destroyed is a very strong and a very wrong word to use there. But thank you for the compliment, sir. I will keep the YouTube and content grind going. It's my only hope. It's my only hope, sir. But I guess I appreciate you, but fuck you? I don't know. I'm confused. My emotions is all over the place right now. Joel Embiid is a corpse. Joel Embiid, Nigel, is legitimately a corpse. He's injured all the time, but the reason I think he's a future Hall of Famer is he still plays through it a lot of times. He plays through it a lot of times, and sometimes it leads to wins. His team still make the playoffs. Sometimes he wins series. Like against Boston, he won that series basically himself. The series was over, and he put everybody on his reconstructed back, and he willed them to the win. But realistically, Boston should have won that series. His wife might be the corpse bride. I wouldn't doubt it. I would not doubt it, Nigel. Okay, next one. Let's see. I love the cope. I would like more cope, please. This is why it's Knicks in 5. I wouldn't say I was coping. I mean, like I said, like if you guys just like peruse my page, you would see, even though I was talking shit about the Knicks, I was also kind of happy that they won in a way. Them winning was beautiful. It was beautiful for basketball and just the city of New York. Watching like the fan, not the burning the city down part, but just watching how happy the fans were. And the city of New York been so peaceful ever since, mostly because of Mamdani. It's been peaceful since Mamdani took over, but it's been even more peaceful since the Knicks won. I think I seen something. Crime is down like 25% across the entire city. That's amazing. The Knicks winning was good for the city of New York, and it felt good as a basketball fan. Even though I'm not a Knicks fan and I hate the Knicks, I still felt joy that they won because it was pure happiness. And you don't see that all the time. Like, people were just happy that the Knicks won, bro. And I thought that was awesome. I really did, just as a basketball fan. And the reason I hate the Knicks is more so the organization. Because they've been around since 1946, since the creation of the NBA. Their counterparts, which are the Boston Celtics and the Los Angeles Lakers, have 17 and 18 championships. The Knicks only had 2, and now they currently have 3. In the mecca of basketball, with all the resources in the world, and one of the best cities in the world, one of the most popular cities in the world, you can only produce 2 championships, and then now 3? That's horrible. I actually really liked this Knicks team. I thought they were very well constructed, and that's part of the reason they won. So I wouldn't say I was coping. I didn't think that the Knicks would do it. They weren't on my radar. It was Detroit, as far as the East at least. It was Detroit. It was Boston. If just like every season, if Embiid was healthy, I thought Embiid possibly and the Sixers possibly could have got it done. And then in the West, I really just thought it was between the Spurs and OKC anyway. The Knicks were not on my radar. They shocked the world, and they shocked me. Congratulations to them, but they shouldn't have been there. They shouldn't have won. That's the bottom line of it. All right, let's see. Let's see what else we got. Why don't take it from New York? We are the champions. Multiple New York emojis. Why don't take it from New York? Am I having a stroke? Hold on. Why don't take it from New York? We are the champions. And then New York based emojis. You know what? It looked like you tried really hard to type out this comment, so I'm gonna just give you a like there. I'll even give you a heart. Sure. You got it, man. You tried your best there. You got it. All right. Beating OKC was the Spurs finals. Wemby crying for a West championship. Knicks tape, Big Nick energy, Knicks M5. His best is... Nigel, be nice, man. Let him have it. Be nice. He did his best there. Okay. This I agree with. I think part of the Spurs' problem was that they completely underestimated the Knicks, and that's almost always an issue. When they beat OKC, they thought it was over. They thought they had the NBA championship in the bag, but regardless of who you playing against in anything, you still have to play the games, right? Because there's a lot of variables that play into winning, whether it be the basketball gods, if you believe in that type of thing, the refs, just energy. People could have got hurt, people could have been tired. Somebody girl could have broke up with them or cheated on them, and now they mind all over the place. It's a lot of variables, so you still got to play the games, and I think that was the Spurs' problem. They beat OKC, and they just knew that they would be able to beat the Knicks. I also thought that too, but I guess as a player, you should never go there, no matter who you playing against, because you never know what's going to happen. Henceforth, again, like I said before, the Spurs were up in every game, and they still lost 4-1. That's being too cocky. That's underestimating your opponent. That's bad coaching down the stretch. So you're right. The Spurs did beat them. They thought OKC was the finals, which, again, everybody else did besides Knicks fans as well thought that the Spurs and OKC was the final. But, again, as a player, you got to go into every series, every game with respect and with giving 110%. I don't think the Spurs did that. And that's why they lost. So, yes, You are right. The Spurs thought that they were in the finals against OKC. They underestimated the Knicks, and now Wemby is crying because he lost. You know, so yeah, no, you're right. Who is this? Who is this? Dominican Sharingan. Awesome name, by the way. Awesome name. You was right. The Knicks' best. Okay. I'm feeling like I'm having a stroke, Knicks fans. Okay. The Knicks best down a better Celtics team 2 seasons ago when the Celtics had Al Horford, KP, and Drew Holiday. The Celtics team that lost to the 76ers in round 1 was a worse Celtics team. Well, 2 seasons ago, if I'm not, that was 2024. 2 seasons ago, the Celtics won the championship. Maybe you meant the season prior to that, I'm assuming. I can't remember that off top, but the Knicks made it to the conference final and they lost to the Pacers. And I'm assuming that's what you're talking about, and they beat Boston leading up to that. That's great, but we're not talking about that season. We're talking about this season. That's really it. We're not talking about the season before. We're talking about this season, and I didn't think the Knicks could do it. I think I can't recall fully, but I believe I had Boston and the Knicks in the conference finals that year, but obviously Boston didn't make it, and the Pacers ended up making it. I mean, yeah, we could talk about previous years, but I'm talking about this year. I just didn't see the Knicks doing it. Like I said, I had Boston over them. With Tatum coming back, I thought that would be a little bit more impactful, but again, he got hurt again. Whatever. I had Detroit. I thought Detroit was really hot, but they ended up being a regular season team. But they're young. They got a lot of time to figure it out. I thought if Embiid could stay healthy, Philly would be a problem, which they were to a certain extent, but Embiid, again, couldn't stay healthy. And then, who else? Cleveland. I didn't believe in Cleveland at all, but I thought they'd be a good matchup for the Knicks. And then they ended up giving up after game 1. So, that's why I said what I said. The Knicks really didn't play anybody. Like, in the conference final, they played Cleveland, a team who was up in game 1, blew the lead, up big. They was up like 20 points, 20 to 30 points. Blew the lead, lost the game, and they quit the rest of the series. So that's just what it is there. The Knicks are the same team that beat the Spurs in the NBA Cup. The Hawks beat the Knicks more times than the Spurs in the postseason. Right. Yes. Again, we're talking about the NBA Cup. No offense, like it's fun. I like the NBA Cup, but the NBA Cup and the NBA Finals are 2 different things. First off. Second, yes, Atlanta did beat the Knicks more than the Spurs beat the Knicks in the postseason. That's part of the reason I thought the Knicks couldn't do it, because they lost to a Hawks team twice. I didn't think they could fucking do it, because they lost to a Hawks team twice, and then the Spurs beat the defending champs. Why would I think that team could beat the Spurs? And again, the Spurs were up every single game, and they gave the games away. 1, because Jalen Brunson is just like one of the clutchest players in NBA history. You gotta give him that. 2, the Spurs are fucking idiots, obviously. And 3, terrible coaching down the stretch from the Spurs coach. And better coaching from the Knicks coach, Mike Brown. Listen, Knicks fans, I get it. I get it. I know you guys are sensitive about your Knicks. I get it. But context matters. Really breaking it down matters. You guys are upset because I said the Knicks didn't play anybody. You guys are upset because I said the Knicks shouldn't have won. But they did. So it doesn't matter what my fat short ass say. It doesn't matter. Why are you guys getting so upset? Come on. But now we're going to move on to TikTok. TikTok, this was nothing. These comments were nothing in comparison to how they did me on TikTok. Here's what we're gonna do. Yeah, this was nothing, Nigel. Legitimately nothing. Let's move this over. 381 comments on this TikTok where I said that the Knicks won a Mickey Mouse championship. Let's see what they got. Excuse me, chat. Sorry. Let's see what these Knicks fans had to say to Plax. Come on. Doesn't know basketball. That's it. Maybe not all, but we gonna go through them. We gonna go through them. Just the first one. Doesn't know basketball. That's it. Okay. Let me tell you guys a story, right? As a real little kid, like when I was like 4 or 5, I didn't really know much about basketball. Like the extent of me knowing about basketball was I had a Shaq and Kobe reversible jersey. Like one side was purple and it was like Shaq's jersey, and then the opposite side, if you folded it out, was yellow and it was Kobe's jersey. Awesome fucking jersey in hindsight. I didn't truly appreciate it when I had it, but if I could find something similar to that today, I would be so fucking elated. An elite level jersey. I think it was like a starter jersey too. Awesome, right? But that was the extent of my knowledge. Then when I was like, I want to say 6 or 7, not trying to, legitimately 6 or 7, legit. My cousin gave me one of his PlayStation 2s. And with that PlayStation 2, he gave me a bunch of different games, but the main game that he gave me that I loved was NBA 2K5 with Ben Wallace on the cover. And I engulfed myself in basketball from that day forward. I was playing that game every single day. Any chance I had to play NBA 2K5, I was playing it. And as I was playing it, I was learning about players. I was learning about the history of the game. I was learning about players from the 60s and the 50s and with the classic teams. I was looking through all of that stuff, right? But I still wasn't like watching basketball. Then fast forward a little bit to 2008, and Kevin Garnett and Ray Allen are traded and signed, or I think they both was traded to the Boston Celtics. And I fell in love with this team. And 2008, I had to be like 10 years old, 9 or 10 years old. And I truly fell in love with this team. Are they a little rough in hindsight, now that I've heard the stories and all that stuff about them? Yes. But I loved that team. They were gritty. They played hard. They played smart and hard at the same time. Pause. Wow, that's crazy. I don't know. I just fell in love with Kevin Garnett. Paul Pierce, he was the truth. Ray Allen could make every shot. Rondo was the best passer in the world to me. And funny enough, Kobe was the villain. Because they was playing against the Lakers in the finals and stuff like that. Kobe was the villain. I was like, oh, I can't stand Kobe. I didn't even know why I couldn't stand him. But I think it was because he was so fucking good. And I'm like, damn, how are we going to beat this crazy motherfucker with this fadeaway? And from then on, from the Pistons in NBA 2K5 to Boston in 2008, I engulfed myself in basketball. Watching documentaries, watching films, hardwood classes. I would sit in my room sometime in the summers and watch hardwood classics all day. Games from the 1960s, games from the 80s, games from the 70s. I would look up biopics about players and where they came from and how their career went. I would look up stats about players and where teams came from and how the Cincinnati Royals became the Sacramento Kings and just a slew of different things. And it's been that way ever since then, and I am 28 years old. Historically speaking, I know the most about basketball more than any 28-year-old that isn't in the NBA or directly involved in basketball, like as a job. I know the history. I don't know every single thing, but I know the history. I know what wins because I've seen it. And don't get me wrong, am I wrong sometimes? Yes. But I know what the fuck I'm talking about when I'm talking about basketball. I've been doing this shit for, you could say, 20 years, basically. I've been watching and consuming basketball for 20 years, damn near nonstop. I know what the fuck I'm talking about. And on top of that, I know it doesn't look like it, but I played a little bit. I played on my middle school team for 3 years. Didn't make my high school team because I'm vertically impaired. I was a good defender, a decent shooter, but I was just too short. Just way too short to be on the court, or at least at the high school level. But I played on my middle school team for 3 years. I would spend my summers playing basketball every single day. Sometimes me and my dad, it would be snowing outside. Me and my dad would go up and move the snow off of the court, and as long as it wasn't no ice on the court, we would play in the wintertime. When I tell you I love basketball, when I tell you I know basketball, I mean it. I know ball. Am I right all the time? No. I'll never say I'm right about everything. Just in life. Sometimes I'm wrong, but everybody wrong. Stephen A. Smith is wrong sometimes. LeBron James is wrong sometimes. That's just being a human being. But to say I don't know ball after doing this shit for 20 years, playing a little bit, and consuming basketball content for 20-something years, you got to give me a little bit of credit. A little bit more credit than y'all giving me. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying, chat. Let's see. We gonna move around. We not go this. It's 381 comments. We're not gonna read all of these, but we gonna go through some. How many playoff and championship games have you played to call anything a Mickey Mouse run? SJ203. I'm pretty sure that you have made comments on basketball before because you're commenting on my basketball take and what I have or haven't done. Have I been in the NBA? No. Have I been close? No, not at all. Like I said, I'm vertically impaired, and at the moment, I am very, very fat. But I've been consuming and playing basketball. I've been consuming basketball content and playing basketball for 20-something years. I think I kind of know what I'm talking about. Could I be wrong about this? Sure. But I'm pretty sure you've made comments about basketball teams and basketball players that were also incorrect. So get off my nuts. Thank you. Notorious Black, I wanted to respond to this. I'm going to respond to this now, I guess. I would love to have you on my podcast so we could debate this and bring your stats and evidence, and I would definitely bring mine. So Notorious Black, I would love to do that. I would love to be on your podcast and just talk basketball. If you're going to be on there like trying to like argue and be like rowdy with me, I don't want to do that. But if you want to have a conversation, I'm down to have a conversation. Only thing about your stats comment is stats do matter. And statistically, the Knicks had a wonderful playoff run, but also context matters. And like I said, the Atlanta Hawks wasn't supposed to make the playoffs in the first place. 2, Joel Embiid was a fucking corpse. So yes, did the Knicks sweep them? Yes, but Joel Embiid was half dead. So add that in there. And then with the Cavs, yes, statistically, they killed the Cavs. But the Cavs were up 20, 30 points going into the fourth quarter of that first game. They blew the lead. And then we watched them. I can't believe I feel like I'm in the Twilight Zone. Because we all watched the Cleveland Cavaliers give up after that game. You can see it in their body language. You can see it. They gave up layups. There's plays where Jared Allen and Evan Mobley just let Jalen Brunson drive to the rim and lay the ball in, and nobody converged or did anything. Multiple different times.
Brunson gets free, fakes, goes inside, lays it up and in. And the Cavs just stopped playing on that possession.
They stopped playing the possession before that. The ball's moving. The body language is not what you want. It is not showing enough fight.
So yes, stats do matter. And yes, the Knicks statistically had a wonderful playoff run, and I'm not going to take that away from them. But context matters. And when you add context to certain situations, they don't look that great. And that's why some of you Knicks fans are getting upset at me about what I said. But, Notorious Black, if you want to have a conversation on your podcast, I'm down to do that. We could definitely do that. They played who was in front of them just like everyone else who won a chip. That's true. That's true too, but that doesn't take away from it being Mickey Mouse. Right? that was just the luck of the draw. Like, they ended up playing against nobody, which is awesome. I wouldn't give a fuck. If I was in the NBA and I got an easy path to the finals and I ended up winning a championship, I don't give a fuck what some podcast or motherfuckers say. I'm an NBA champion. I was just giving my opinion on the situation because I love basketball. I love talking about basketball. That's just what I do. Simple as that. But this guy, what is his name? Noble is right. They play who was in front of them just like everybody else. That's true. But I also think it's not that serious, guys. I'm just a guy talking to you on a camera. This is probably a clip as well. I'm a Twitch streamer. I'm a YouTuber. I talk about basketball. Not that serious. It's really not that serious. Let's see. I'll read this. We're not going to read all of these. Hawks 19-11 versus the West 76ers 18-12 versus the West Cavs. The Knicks weren't favored to beat any of these teams, including this. Oh, okay. Now I was confused on the numbers there. Okay. The Knicks weren't favored to beat any of these teams, including the Spurs. It's okay to be a hater, bro. I am a Knicks hater. Again, I'm a Knicks hater because of the organization. They're overachieved. They're not an overachiever. They're an underachieving organization. I actually really liked this Knicks team as it was constructed. I don't like the organization because, again, they're the counterparts of the Lakers and the Celtics. The Lakers and the Celtics have 17 and 18 championships. The Knicks had 2 up until now. Now they have 3. That's fucking horrible. You're in the mecca of basketball in one of the most popular cities in the world, and you only have 2, now 3 championships to show for it. When the other 2 big market teams that have been around the same amount of time as you are well into the teens heading into the 20s. That's deplorable. But this team I really liked. I liked how they were constructed. I like Jalen Brunson. Cat is 50-50 with me sometimes, but like I like him as a player. He's a really good shooter, and when you activate him, he's one of the best players in the world. And then Mikal Bridges, I'm a fan of him. He was on the Nets for a couple days. I'm a fan of him. I just like him. He's a two-way. He's a smart player. He's an Iron Man player. I like guys like that. OG, Josh Hart, Jose Alvarado, Grand Theft Auto Alvarado. I like all of those guys. I just didn't think they played anybody. And that's how they won. But as far as the not being favored, I know statistically, like I believe he put the stats here that they weren't favored against any of the teams they played against. I didn't personally think that. Me personally, I know, the what is it? Vegas might have had them favored not to win those series. I did. Atlanta, I thought they should have swept Atlanta. They are a way better team than the Hawks. Philly, I didn't think they would sweep Philly, but I knew they would beat Philly because, again, Embiid shot his load against Boston, and again was a corpse, playing with like 10 different injuries at one time. Edgecombe, as good as he is, he was a rookie, and Maxey is also like a younger star. He hasn't really had a lot of opportunity quite yet to really show himself and learn in the playoff setting. I just think that wasn't enough. So I didn't think they would sweep Philly, which they did, but I knew they would beat Philly. Then with Cleveland, I was 50-50. I thought either Cleveland would win or the Knicks would win. I wasn't really certain on either one. But after that first game and I saw how the Cavs body language was, if I could find the message in here, I'll put it in here. I told my friends in the group chat that the Cavs are going to get swept. Because I saw their body language after they blew that lead in the first game, and I knew it was over. And I said, the series is over. I believe I said they're going to get swept. If I can find it, I will put it in this clip. Because I said that. So, I was 50-50 on the Cavs. I wasn't really sure until after that first game. With the Spurs, I obviously was going for the Spurs, and I thought the Spurs were going to win. But again, context matters. The Spurs were up that entire series up until the fourth quarter, and then Jalen Brunson did Jalen Brunson magic and brought his team back each time. The Spurs gave the series away. It's not like the Knicks blew the Spurs out every game. They were down each game and then just happened to come back every time. So shout out to Jalen Brunson for that. Awesome performances. But I just don't think that's concrete evidence to say it's not a Mickey Mouse championship. That's all I'm saying. And I had the Knicks favored to win all those series except for the Spurs, and I was 50-50 on the Cavs. So, shout out to AC though for bringing up the statistics, but that I personally thought the Knicks could beat all of those teams. They got to start making podcast equipment way more inaccessible. I mean, I guess I feel like there's worse people online with podcast equipment talking about a lot worse stuff than me having an opinion on a basketball championship run. I guess to a certain extent I agree with you because of that fact. But if you're talking about because of me, either you're just not on the internet much, or you're a super Knicks fan, and I truly, truly offended you. And for that, I guess I apologize, but that's still my opinion. So the Knicks shouldn't have won the championship. It was a Mickey Mouse championship because they didn't play anybody. That's just what it is. That's my own personal opinion. I could kind of back it up with context. I wouldn't say it's necessarily facts fully, but there's definitely some really important context that needs to be said when you're talking about this run that the Knicks had. But yes, podcast equipment should be a little bit less accessible because there's some crazy people online. I personally don't think I'm one of them. I just like talking about basketball. Okay, we'll read this one. Say you don't know ball without saying you don't know ball. Beat the hottest team entering the playoffs. 2 teams with 2 future Hall of Famers. Beat the Spurs, who everyone picked to win it all. And I keep saying, I know chat probably tired of hearing me saying this. Context matters. The hottest team entering the playoffs, I believe you're talking about the Atlanta Hawks. The Atlanta Hawks were one of the worst teams in the NBA going into the All-Star break. They got rid of Trae Young, who I guess obviously was holding them back, and they started to rally, and they started to turn it around a little bit. But their best player in that series, you could probably say, was CJ McCollum. That team overachieved. And like you said, they got hot. Just because you got hot doesn't mean you're a good team. They weren't supposed to be in the playoffs. They got hot, lucked up, just barely made it in. And the Knicks, just like they did the other team, should have swept them. They shouldn't have lost 2 games to the Hawks. They should have swept them and been on to the next round. And when they lost those 2 games to the Hawks, I really didn't think they'd be able to win the championship. And that was because the Hawks wasn't supposed to be in the playoffs in the first place. And it looked like the Knicks were struggling a little bit. Besides those last couple of games, of course. Let's see. Beat the hottest team entering the playoffs. 2 teams with 2 future Hall of Famers. So I believe you're talking about Philly and you're talking about Cleveland. Embiid is a future Hall of Famer, but again, he had like 10 injuries at one time. And I believe he shot his load, again against Boston, trying to win that series. So like he might as well shouldn't have been out there. And I think one of the games he wasn't out there. Maxey, as good as he is, he's still very young. He's still learning. And Edgecombe is a rookie. If you were talking about Paul George, Podcast P is not the same. Even though he did have a good series. He did have a good series against the Knicks, but Podcast P is not the same. And he probably never be. So I didn't even expect much from him in the first place going into that series. So that's another thing. And then if you're talking about, are you talking about Harden and Donovan Mitchell? First of all, Harden historically is a choke artist in the playoffs because his game definitely doesn't constitute winning because it never has. Dribble, step back after 22 seconds. Dribble, drive, draw a foul. Dribble, drive, pass to the corner. Hasn't worked for the past 15 years, and it's probably never going to work. And then you got rid of the Cleveland got rid of Darius Garland for somebody older and worse at this juncture. Harden's game never constituted winning. So getting him to try in an effort to try to win was a horrible idea. And we saw that. We saw that blatantly. He's not a leader. He's never been. He had a bunch of great seasons in Houston. He was a 6-man in OKC, but his game has never constituted into winning championships, no matter where he went. And I personally don't think he'll ever win a championship unless he's like 40 years old on the bench of a team that happened to be rolling. That's his best bet. But him as a main cog on the team, it's not gonna happen. Honestly, I keep talking about Cleveland gave up and Cleveland quit. That was their first mistake. Getting James Harden. You should have just kept Darius Garland. Was he hurt a lot? Yeah, but I'd personally right now rather have him than Harden. But again, that's personal opinion. Since there's a Disney theme here, I'm going to say what this dude is saying is goofy. That was okay. That's a good one. I'm not even mad at that one. That's a good one. Some folks should keep their takes to themselves. Again, it's my page. I enjoy doing this. I'm gonna say what the fuck I want. That's you in my comments, truth. You in my comments talking about what I said. Because you upset. You didn't have to comment. You could have just scrolled. You could have reported me. But no, you chose to comment. So that's, come on, man. This would make sense if they hadn't beat everyone by 50 or 40 points. These teams didn't quit. Knicks made them quit. I know the Knicks won a couple games during this run by like 30, 40 points. I even think I think Atlanta they beat by like 50 points one game. But they didn't beat everyone by this margin. Now we're just making up shit. Like, again, the Spurs were up each game. And they just gave the leads away. Now that's just, again, bad coaching, being too cocky, and being too young. And just being stupid. With the Cavs, I mean, I could be remembering wrong, but the Cavs were up 20 points in that first game, and then the Knicks came back. I think they blew them out like one other game. I think the Knicks blew out the Cavs one other game. But those other two games were like within 10 or 15. I could be wrong. You could tell me if I'm wrong or not. Against Philly, they blew out Philly like one game potentially, but again, Embiid was a corpse. I think the game that they blew them out, Embiid didn't even play. And then Atlanta, they blew out Atlanta in that last game, but they lost. They also lost 2 games to Atlanta. So, I mean, they didn't blow out every single team every single game. That's not what happened. They did go on a win streak for sure, but they did not blow out every team by 40 or 50 points. Let's not add stuff to the run. Let's not add stuff to the run because that did not happen. What you got against New York? I have nothing against New York. I think New York is an amazing city. My issue with, and I said I know chat probably getting tired of me. My issue with the New York Knicks wasn't the team. I'm a Knicks hater because of the organization. The Knicks have been around since 1946 in the NBA, since the start of the NBA, along with other teams, but mostly the Lakers and the Celtics. The Lakers and the Celtics, to show for it, have 17 and 18 championships. The Knicks, up until this year, had 2. In the Mecca of basketball, in one of the most popular poppin' cities in the world, could only conjure up 2 championships. And if you believe in NBA conspiracies, they got Patrick Ewing on some sneaky, backhanded David Stern freezing envelope shit. And you wasted Patrick Ewing's career. The best player you put with him, or one of the best players you put with him in the 90s, was John Starks. I love John Starks. But John Starks was a fucking stock boy. He worked in a grocery store. Somebody from the Knicks training team seen him at a grocery store, saw that he was 6'5", 6'6", and was like, hey, buddy, have you ever played basketball? John Starks was like, yeah, sure. You want to come to a Knicks practice? Yeah, why not? He brought him to a Knicks practice, and he ended up on the team. That was their starting shooting guard for a long time. You put Charles Oakley, whose best claim to fame was slamming people on the ground, him and Anthony Mason, and thought that was going to win you a championship? You gave Patrick Ewing nothing and expected him to do something with it. It's that, and that's just one example of like just the Knicks were and still are to a certain extent a terrible organization. I just so happen to like this team, but that doesn't change my opinion on it. I thought they shouldn't have won the championship, and they didn't play anybody to win it besides the Spurs, of course. OKC played the 6-seeded Pacers in the finals and went to 7 games. Who did they beat on the way there? I can't remember. Honestly, I can't remember off top. I probably have to look that up. But as far as the Pacers, we like to forget in the playoffs, the Pacers got extremely hot, which is important. Similar to Atlanta not in the playoffs, but going into the playoffs, Atlanta got really hot. That's how they made it to the playoffs. But in the playoffs last year, or not last, but the year prior, the Pacers got steaming, damn near fiery depths of hell hot. They were fucking rolling. I thought Aaron Nesmith couldn't miss a shot some of those times. Some of those games. Tyrese Halliburton, up until he popped his ACL, was playing some of the best basketball I've ever seen from a main guard. Pascal Siakam was doing it all out there. They were rolling. And again, OKC still ended up winning. The only alternative to the Pacers would have been OKC playing the Knicks, and I think OKC would have beat the Knicks. Now, was I wrong about the Spurs? Yeah, but the difference between the Spurs and OKC is OKC aren't idiots. And if they're up down the stretch, they're not going to start chucking up threes and doing step backs and all this dumb shit and trying to force up shots. They're going to slow down, play defense, get to the rack, do what they need to do. The Spurs didn't do that. And that's the difference between OKC and the Spurs. The Spurs just happened to will themselves past OKC. But let's not try to downplay the Pacers run. They got hot at the right time. Now that part is important. They got hot in like the second round of the playoffs, and they just carried that into the finals. And then they still almost beat OKC, but they didn't. You know what I'm saying? But the Pacers got hot. They weren't supposed to, the Pacers weren't even supposed to be there. The Pacers weren't supposed to make the finals that year, but they got hot at the right time. That's important. That's why I keep saying context matters. Just stop hating. Oh, these was my favorite. Said a Los Angeles fan, remind us all what round did the LA team get to. This is my favorite one that I seen. I am not a Lakers fan. I just so happen to have a Lakers jersey on during that stream with Aaliyah. And the only reason not even just so happened, the only reason I had that Lakers jersey on with Aaliyah is because she's a Celtics fan, and I was trying to be funny. It's an inside joke between the two of us because I know she's a Celtics fan. I am not a Lakers fan. I like basketball. I like jerseys. I have on a New Jersey Nets jersey right now. I am unfortunately, I am a Brooklyn Nets fan, and funny enough, I am a Spurs fan. Historically, I'm a Spurs fan. Was I upset that the Knicks beat the Spurs? Yes, but the Spurs gave the series away to the Knicks, and there's no sugarcoating that. The Spurs should have beat the Knicks. They were up every game in that series, and they blew the lead 4 times. Bad coaching, being stupid down the stretch as players, and being too cocky. And that's why the Spurs lost. The Knicks deserved it because the Spurs just gave it away to them. Like a freak bitch. Gave the series away to them like a freak bitch. But I am not a Lakers fan. I just like basketball. I like jerseys. I just have a Jerry West Lakers jersey. Actually, shout out my boy Trev. He an artist in the town as well. Shout out my boy Trev because I bought that jersey and I think this jersey off of him. So shout out to him. But I am not a Lakers fan. I've never been a Lakers fan. I will never be a Lakers fan. I actually fucking hate the Lakers. I hate the Knicks. I hate the Lakers. I hate the Celtics. They all are for various reasons. For various reasons. I hate the Knicks more so because of the organization, not the players. There's a lot. I like Bernard King. I kind of like Patrick Ewing a little bit. I really liked actually this Knicks team that just won the championship. So it was never really about the players. It was more so the organization. Boston, just a racist town that doesn't deserve all the championships they got. They even treated Bill Russell like shit, and he won them 11 championships. They vandalized his house and shit in his bed. Legitimately, shit in his bed. Somebody pulled their pants down and took a shit in the man's bed after he won them multiple championships. Not just multiple, 11. Something that'll probably never be passed in the NBA ever. He did that for the city of Boston. Yes. Bill, listen. Story time, guys. Story time. Hold on, I'm going to go full screen real quick. Story time for you guys that don't know. Part of the reason, one of the many reasons I hate the Boston Celtics is because I'm assuming it was in the 60s, after Bill Russell had won them multiple championships already. The Boston fans, because he was an activist and stood up for black people and black people's rights, broke into his home, vandalized his home, and somebody or somebodies decided it was a good idea to pull their pants down and shit in Bill Russell's bed. And he, for whatever reason, he still stayed in Boston and won them multiple championships. And when that happened, he had already won them multiple championships. A feat that'll never be passed, most likely ever, in the NBA or any other league. And that's how they treated him. Boston is a racist town who doesn't deserve all those championships, but they got them. Shout out to Red Auerbach. Now, the organization, I mean, the organization, I don't think they've ever been racist. Like, they've done a lot of things for black people. Like, Red Auerbach went out of his way to draft Bill Russell. One, because he knew he would win with him. And two, he just didn't care about color. I just don't think Red Auerbach was that type of person. I think Boston was the first team or one of the first teams to start a black basketball player. I don't think they drafted the first one, but they definitely started the first one. So the organization itself, I don't think is racist up until this whole Jaylen Brown thing, but this is a different ownership group that is like puppeteering Brad Stevens to do dumb shit. So that, that's a whole separate thing. But historically speaking, the organization hasn't been racist. They have just done the best they can to win. But the city is so racist and gross. I just don't like the team because of that. And I don't think those fans deserve that many championships because they're terrible people. Not every single one of them, obviously. Just historically speaking, Boston has been a racist city. And that's why I don't really like the Boston Celtics like that. And they just win too much. You get tired of seeing motherfuckers hoisting up trophies all the time. Like I said, I'm a basketball historian, so I've seen all this stuff. And it's like, damn. And then you hear the stories like, oh, Red Auerbach, manipulated the Atlanta Hawks owner because he was racist and was like, oh, I don't know if I want to draft Bill Russell. I don't know if I'm ready to have like a black player be my star. I already have Bob Pettit. I don't think I want to do that. And Red Auerbach was like, yo, you right. You probably shouldn't do that. Just give us y'all pick and we'll take Bill Russell off your hands because it makes sense to draft him, but you guys don't want him. So you might as well let us draft him. And the dumbass racist Atlanta owner was like, Red, you might be on to something, boy. And that's how, and the rest is history. That's how Bill Russell ended up in Boston instead of Atlanta. And then you heard like the limb bias move. ended up with the first or second pick after just winning a championship, after one of their best seasons, one of the best seasons in NBA history in 1986, still ended up with the first or second pick and got Len Bias, who, you know, for all intent and purposes was supposed to be better than Michael Jordan. Unfortunately, he passed away. But they would have ended up with the greatest player of all time after just winning a championship. Just a lot of stuff. Even getting KG and Ray Allen. I just learned this recently. Kevin McHale was the GM for the Timberwolves when they traded Kevin Garnett to the Celtics. Ain't that about a bitch? Ain't that about some Boston Celtics bitch ass shit? Kevin McHale, one of the greatest Celtics of all time, GMing for another team, made sure Kevin Garnett made it to Boston. And then on top of that, as a Nets fan, they really screwed us. They sent over KG and Paul Pierce, and KG and Paul Pierce said this themselves. They came over just to bullshit us. Just to put us in a bad spot. And they did. It worked. Fuck you, Danny Ainge, you piece of shit. Fuck you. And fuck you, KG and Paul Pierce. And that hurts to say because y'all helped me fall in love with basketball. Funny enough, I loved that 2008 Boston Celtics team, but fuck you guys. Because you put the Nets in a terrible ass spot. But let's get back to these comments before I get mad. Let's get back to this before I get too mad over here. Let's see. So from Anna Marie here. So the question is, who was supposed to win the East? Again, I thought Boston would when Tatum came back. I was like, okay, Boston was already rolling with Tatum out. So with him coming back, they're just going to be even better. I thought Boston would make it to the conference final or into the finals. They didn't, obviously, because Tatum was out, and then they lost to Philly. They lost that lead. But they were up 3-1 against Philly as well, I believe, right? They were up like 3-1 against Philly. They still could have won, but they didn't. I really liked Detroit, but for some reason, Jalen Durham forgot how to play basketball in the playoffs. But I seen people being hard on him. He's only 22 years old. Just give him some time. Give him some time. They was talking about getting rid of him and not giving him his extension. I think that'd be like a very dumb mistake. He's 22 years old. Make sure you get him back and give him some time before you talk about getting rid of him. He had a great season last year. He just kind of floundered in the playoffs. Give the kid a break. He's 22. Let him breathe. And then who else was it? And I thought if Embiid could stay healthy, Philly had a chance as well. With Maxey, Edgecombe, Embiid, and then like just PG just sprinkling in points where he could. I thought they would be able to do it, but again, Embiid can never stay fully healthy, so that just wasn't going to happen. But I really like Detroit. I thought Boston could do it, and I thought Philly had a chance. All really over the Knicks. The only edge I gave the Knicks was that they were the most healthy and complete team. And that ended up working out in their favor. And that's why they ended up winning. But again, that was my personal opinion going into the playoffs. This is fire. Jalen Brunson doing the little how you do it, yeah. Do the little, that's fire, okay. That's fire. They were cooking me. 300 at this point, it was 200, but 381, almost 400 comments. All of them being pissed off at me. This is a Mickey Mouse podcast. My voice a little high. I'm not gonna front me. I can be considered Mickey Mouse at times. I'm a jolly fellow too, as well. I think I'm kind of funny. So yeah, this could be a Mickey. Also, it wasn't a podcast. I was streaming with my friend who also loves basketball, and we were just talking about basketball. It's not even a podcast. We were just streaming. I guess you could consider it a podcast, but we were just talking shit. That's really all it was. Again, are you wearing a Lakers jersey when the Mickey Mouse Championship is the bubble? Number one, again, not a Lakers fan. I just happen to be wearing a Lakers jersey in that video or in that clip that you saw. 2, personal opinion, I think the bubble was the purest form of hoops you could possibly get. I think that was the most difficult championship probably in NBA history because there were no distractions. It was just a hotel room, basketball, go to the pool, talk to your teammates, basketball. All it was practice, basketball, teammates, pool, coaches. That's all it was. That was the purest form of hoops we'll probably ever get. God forbid we have another pandemic. But besides that happening, that was the purest form of hoops possible, and I think that was one of the most difficult championships you could win. Also, on top of that, if we remember the season prior to them shutting the league down, the Lakers were rolling that year, so they were probably going to win the championship whether the pandemic happened and they ended up in the bubble or not. So, personal opinion, the bubble was pure basketball and the purest form of basketball, and we probably not going to never see that again. No distractions, just hoops. That was pretty difficult, in my opinion. He ain't lying. Thank you. Hey, shout out to DLeak302. He ain't lying. Thank you. One positive comment out of 381 comments. Jesus Christ, man. Thank you, man. Like, context matters. Context matters, guys. Come on. Now, this one, okay, I like this one. The point is, everybody thought different, but the Knicks, he spelled Knicks wrong. Come on, brother. But the Knicks didn't care. They handled business, so what you thought is irrelevant. That you spelled there wrong as well, but are the champs. That's the point, and I want people to keep thinking like that. Okay, so really quick, that's not how you spell the Knicks. The Knicks is spelled Knicks. You were close. You just missed the K. And that's the wrong there. It was supposed to be the THEY apostrophe RE. That's what you were supposed to put there. But besides that, they did prove everybody wrong. Nobody thought that they would do that besides Knicks fans, and they did it. So huge shout out to them. But that doesn't mean it wasn't a Mickey Mouse championship. They just proved doubters wrong, which is a good thing. That's awesome, but that doesn't change what I said. So work on your spelling, especially for your own favorite team. Like, I'm assuming you're a Knicks fan. You probably should know how to spell the Knicks. And then theirs are difficult. I get my theirs wrong sometimes too. It's just the one that you got wrong is the easiest one. They are there. You just putting those two together, but it's okay. It's fine. It's okay. Yeah, if you gonna talk shit, Nigel, you right. If you gonna talk shit to me, do it correctly. Like, spell everything need to be spelled right. You need to be using proper grammar. If you're gonna talk shit, do it correctly. That's all I'm saying. And be funny. If you're gonna tell a joke, be funny. Don't be corny. Some of these are fucking corny. From Neek. Let's see. Saying Cleveland, who I thought would give them a go. Then to follow that up with Spurs, who just beat the champs. It was crazy for them to lose that. But then saying we had a Mickey Mouse chip is the most contradictory statement you could make. Okay. Well, let's break this down really quick. So I said Cleveland, who I thought would give them a go. So I did think that Cleveland would give the Knicks a go. I was 50-50 on who would win between the Knicks and the Cavs in the conference finals. And I think that statement was still true until they lost game one. Again, Cleveland was up like 20 or 30 points going into the fourth quarter of game one, and then they blew the lead. Excuse me. Sorry. Cleveland was up 20 or 30 points going into the fourth quarter, and then they blew the lead, and of course, the Knicks ended up coming back and winning that game and then sweeping the rest of the series. After they blew that lead, I saw their body language. I even, and if I can find it, I'll put it in this clip as well. I saw that Cleveland's body language, they gave up. It was over. They gave up in that fourth quarter, and they gave up the rest of the series. So yes, I thought it would be more of a battle between Cleveland and the Knicks. I thought they were a more evenly matched team. But then after that first game, they blew that lead, which again, they were up majority of the game, so I can't really say the Knicks were just so much better than them because they were up the majority of that game. But whether you want to say, you know, Jalen Brunson being clutch or just like the lights were too bright, like Jared Allen liked to say all the time, the Cavs gave the series away. There's even some plays where they didn't even defend. They just let Jalen Brunson lay the ball in, drive to the rack and lay the ball in, and nobody even came to converge. And that happened a handful of times in that series. So, yes, I thought Cleveland would give them a go, but then they gave up because they blew that lead or whatever reason. Lights too bright. They blew that lead in the first game. Whatever the reason is, they gave up. And we all watched them give up. So I don't see where I contradicted myself there. And then I followed that up with the Spurs who just beat the champ. It was crazy for them to lose that. Yes. So, again, the Knicks beat a team who gave up against them. Whereas the Spurs just beat the defending NBA champs, who we all, unless I'm wrong, thought was damn near unbeatable or very extremely difficult to beat. So my viewpoint was, you beat the defending champs who were favored to win again versus the team that beat a bunch of quitters. If you take out being a Knicks fan, I would probably go with the team that beat the defending champs who they probably shouldn't have beat. Am I right, Russell? I don't see where I contradicted myself there. I think I was pretty clear and concise, and I don't see where the contradiction was there. The Cavs quit, and the Knicks beat them. The Spurs beat the defending champs at the time. They played each other. I thought the Spurs would win. They didn't. You could say I was wrong in what I thought, so you'd be right about that. I was dead wrong because obviously the Knicks won in 5. But I don't think I contradicted myself. That was just my thought process. And I don't think I was the only one that thought that. The only people that thought the Knicks were going to win that game, that series, was Knicks fans. But they did. You know, but I don't think I contradicted myself there. I think you were wrong. Maybe you used the wrong. You could have just said wrong. If you would have just said wrong, you were right on that. I was wrong on that one, but that's pretty much it. Ted the Great. More comments than likes. Return the equipment, bro. This take says a lot about your ball knowledge. I mean, Ted, I think you've been right. Like, I think if you've bet or thought a team was gonna win before and they didn't, I'm sure you've done that before. I'm assuming you're a Knicks fan as well, so I know you've been wrong about a team winner or not multiple times in the past. So please, fucking relax, okay? And again, there's a lot worse people saying a lot worse things than saying the Knicks won a Mickey Mouse championship on the internet. And I don't think you're in their comments saying this, so leave me the fuck alone. Get off my balls, please. Like that's the problem with Knicks fans. Like, you guys are passionate. I can tell you guys love the Knicks very, very much, and that can be appreciated because I'm a basketball fan. So I appreciate the passion and the love for your team and the love for basketball. But then you guys take it too far. Like, y'all make it your whole life. Like, y'all willing to die over the Knicks, and that shit is just fucking mental to me. Y'all willing to die. If any of these people see me, to be fair, that's a lot of sports. That's true, but like Knicks, like Nigel, Nick, you don't understand. Knicks fans are like the top of the top when it comes to crazy fans. They will damn near murder you. They will fucking murder you. If I was talking about the Knicks in public, I would have gotten stabbed. I would have gotten stabbed or beat up. If I would have said this in Times Square on like a box just talking with a microphone, I would have been stabbed and beat the fuck up. And I probably wouldn't have made it home. That's how crazy. Over a personal opinion. I didn't even say nothing bad about the Knicks. I even said, not in this clip, but in the video, I even said I liked this Knicks team. I just feel like they didn't play anybody. And then I listed reasons of why I thought they didn't play anybody. And look at how angry these people got at me, bro. They're fucking insane. They're fucking insane, Nigel. It's scary, bro. It's scary.
It's the 3 on PLAX TV.
Oh, PLAX TV.